Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. There's a strange moment in every marriage when silence becomes louder than words. When you can feel someone slipping away, even as they smile beside you. For me, that moment started months ago. Lydia and I used to be the kind of couple people envied. We had a small home near the coast, a coffee routine that never changed, and dreams that once felt shared. She'd make pancakes on Sundays, hum old Taylor Swift songs under her breath, and tease me about my black coffee addiction. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Then something shifted. At first, it was small, missed dinners, her phone lighting up at midnight, a new perfume I hadn't bought. She'd laugh it off, say, "Relax, Derek, not everything's suspicious." But her eyes always flickered away before she finished that sentence. And that flicker, God, it said everything words didn't. I started noticing things I'd never cared to before. How she smiled a little too long at her phone. How she suddenly became too busy to talk. How she'd leave early for work but come home hours late, claiming traffic, even when I knew every shortcut in town. She'd walk through the door smelling like rain and hotel soap. And when I'd ask if everything was all right, she'd just place a hand on my chest, whisper, "I'm just tired, babe," and disappear into the shower before I could press further. I wanted to believe her. I really did. Because believing her meant I didn't have to face the idea that the woman I loved was already halfway gone. For weeks, I told myself I was imagining it. We were both working too hard. Her marketing job at Westridge Motors had been demanding lately. Deadlines, clients, pressure. That's what she said. But love doesn't die from work stress. It dies from secrets. One night, I came home early from my shift at the design firm. Lydia wasn't there. Her car wasn't either. On the table sat a half-finished cup of coffee, cold, and her phone charger still plugged into the wall. That's when it hit me. Her absences weren't random anymore. They were patterns, carefully chosen hours, the same nights each week. I tried confronting her once, just once. She smiled that too soft smile, the one she used to calm me when we first dated, and said, "You're reading too much into things, Derek. I just need some space lately. Please don't make it something it's not." I let it go. But that night, I barely slept. When she finally rolled into bed after midnight, she smelled faintly of cologne. Not mine. That was the moment the love I felt turned into quiet suspicion. And beneath that suspicion, something darker was brewing. Resolve. I started keeping records. Little notes, time she left, excuses she gave, people she mentioned. It wasn't about paranoia anymore. It was about knowing. And then, on a Tuesday night that seemed painfully ordinary, it happened. We'd barely spoken all day. She scrolled through her phone at dinner, laughing at something she refused to show me. When I asked, she said, "Just a meme from work." At 10:48 p.m., she changed into jeans and a hoodie. "I'm going out for a bit," she said, tying her hair back. "Where?" I asked. "Just a drive. Need to clear my head." The words stung more than I expected. She didn't even make eye contact when she said them. I nodded slowly, pretending it didn't tear something inside me. "All right. Text me when you're safe." She mumbled something like, "Yeah," before closing the door. The sound of her engine fading down the street left the house painfully quiet. Minutes later, my phone buzzed with her message. Clearing my head. Going for a late drive. And that's when everything inside me finally went still. I typed my reply. Steady hands, calm tone, but my pulse was racing. "Cool." Waved to the Route 9 security camera for me. It wasn't sarcasm. It wasn't a joke. It was the beginning of the end. Because I already knew who she was with. And this time, I wasn't going to confront her. I was going to expose her. I watched the clock on the wall as the seconds dragged past midnight. The hum of the refrigerator was the only sound left in the room. My phone stayed on the table, face down, screen pulsing with unread notifications I wasn't ready to see yet. There's something eerie about knowing the truth but pretending you don't. You start noticing how every tiny sound feels like a confession. The wind through the blinds. The soft creak of the house. The way Gil has a sound when it tries to sneak past midnight. I finally flipped my phone over. Lydia had called 6 times. Then a string of messages came through. Short, frantic, typed by someone who just realized they'd run out of lies. "Derek, can you pick up?" Please, it's not what it looks like. I need to talk to you. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the security app again. The Route 9 diner camera caught everything, grainy, but clear enough. Her car parked behind the diner. A man leaning against her door, arms crossed, smiling like he knew her too well. Kyle Benson, her co-worker, the same man she'd mentioned in passing for months, calling him a great listener. They weren't listening tonight. They were laughing, leaning close, sharing that quiet, private rhythm that used to be ours. She brushed her hair behind her ear, the move she always made when she was nervous or trying to look perfect for someone. I zoomed in, then stopped myself. I didn't need to see more. I already knew everything I needed to. I sat there for a long time, trying to process the hurricane building inside me. Anger, grief, disbelief. They all mixed into something quieter, something colder. Because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And that's what I felt setting in. When Lydia finally came home, it was 2:07 in the morning. She walked in like she'd practiced her apology in the car. Her makeup was smudged, and her voice trembled when she spoke. Derek, listen, before you say anything, I can explain. I didn't move from my chair. You've had all night to rehearse it. Go ahead. Her eyes flicked toward the table, where my phone rested beside an empty coffee mug. She swallowed hard. Kyle called me. He was upset. His wife left him, and I just wanted to be there for him as a friend. That's all it was. I let out a quiet laugh that didn't sound like mine. A friend? Lydia, do you think I'm blind, or just stupid? She shook her head, her lip trembling. No, you don't understand. Nothing happened. We just talked. I stood then, slow, deliberate. You were on Route 9, behind the diner, at midnight, laughing with him. That's talking. Her face lost its color. You followed me? No, I said softly. You waved at the wrong camera. The realization hit her like a slap. She backed up, hands covering her mouth. Derek, please, I swear. Stop lying. I said, my tone calm but final. I've been giving you every chance to tell the truth. You didn't want honesty. You want a cover story. She broke then, sobbing quietly. But I didn't reach for her. That instinct, to comfort her, was gone, replaced by something else. Purpose. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things. That would make me look like the villain in her next story. Instead, I walked past her into my office and opened my laptop. For months, Lydia had been transferring small amounts of money from our joint account to what she called a personal savings fund. I tracked every transaction, every hidden withdrawal. I knew where she was planning to go. So I sent a single email, one she never saw coming, to her boss at Westridge Motors. Subject: confidential, employee ethics concern. I didn't embellish or fabricate anything, just attached screenshots, timestamps, and a few photos from the security feed that showed Lydia in the company parking lot, on nights she was supposedly working late. With Kyle, it wasn't revenge. It was exposure, a clean, quiet ending. When she followed me into the office, panic written across her face, I didn't turn around. Derek, please, she begged. Don't do this. It'll ruin everything. I looked at her over my shoulder, my voice steady. You already did that. Her breathing hitched. I made a mistake. I didn't mean for it to go this far. That's the thing about betrayal, I said. It doesn't stop until someone draws the line. She sank to the floor beside the desk, sobbing into her hands. And for the first time in months, I felt peaceful. Not happy. Just done. By the next morning, I was gone. I packed a bag, grabbed the dog, and left a note on the counter that read simply, "You wanted freedom. You've got it." Later that day, my phone buzzed with a message from a friend who worked at Westridge. You won't believe what just happened. Lydia and Kyle were called into HR. It's bad. I stared at the message for a long moment, then put my phone face down again. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about letting them face the world they built with their lies. That night, for the first time in a long while, I slept without checking the clock. The next few weeks felt strangely quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that follows a storm once it's done tearing through everything you built. I stayed at a small rental house across town. Bare walls, secondhand furniture, no frame photos. It wasn't home, but it was peaceful. No lies. No buzzing phone hiding secrets in the dark. At first, I thought I'd feel relief. But the truth is, after betrayal, peace feels almost unnatural. You spend so long walking on eggshells that when they finally stop cracking, you don't know how to walk normally again. Lydia tried to reach out. Dozens of times. Calls, emails, even handwritten letters slipped under my door. I didn't answer any of them. Her words always started the same way. You have to understand, and ended the same way. I didn't mean to hurt you. But every lie she told had been deliberate, calculated. So why should I believe her regrets were real? Then, one rainy afternoon, a letter came from Westridge Motors. Not for me, for Lydia. She'd listed our old address as her contact point, and I was still forwarding her mail. I didn't open it, but the logo said enough. A week later, the local business page posted a short update online. 2 Westridge employees terminated after internal ethics violation investigation. No names. But I didn't need them. It wasn't satisfaction I felt. It was closure. I wasn't proud of exposing her, but I wasn't sorry either. Some people only learn truth when it's written in consequences. I spent those quiet days rebuilding pieces of myself I'd lost in that marriage. Simple things, cooking for one, going for runs without checking my phone, sleeping without waiting for headlights outside. But even then, something in me stayed unfinished. I got my revenge, yes. But revenge doesn't heal. It just clears the space for healing to start. One night, as I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee gone cold, I found myself scrolling through old photos. Lydia smiling at the lake, us holding sparklers on New Year's Eve, her asleep on my shoulder after a long flight. Those memories used to hurt. Now, they felt like they belonged to someone else entirely. Then, out of nowhere, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something, instinct, maybe, made me answer. Derek. The voice on the other end was shaky, raw. Lydia. I didn't say anything. Just listened. I know you don't want to hear from me, she said quietly. But I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. For everything. For lying. For making you feel small. For making you believe I was someone worth trusting. The silence stretched between us. I finally spoke. You don't owe me an apology, Lydia. You owe it to yourself. You let something real die for something that was never going to last. Her breath hitched. I lost my job. Kyle left town. My parents won't even talk to me. I close my eyes. Actions catch up. They always do. I just wish, she whispered, you'd yelled. Or hated me. Anything. You just stop caring. That's worse. That's what happens, I said softly. When someone breaks what was sacred, you stop bleeding for them. There was a long pause. Are you happy now? She finally asked. No, I said, but I'm free. And that was the truth. When I hung up, I didn't feel anger or triumph. I just felt empty space where pain used to live. Over time, I started focusing on things that didn't revolve around loss. My work, my friends, the small design studio I dreamed of opening but never dared while married. I named it Route 9 Design. A quiet nod to the night, everything changed. Funny thing about betrayal. It teaches you more about loyalty than any faithful day ever could. Months passed. Life found its rhythm again. I started smiling more easily, laughing without guilt. People around me began noticing. You look lighter, one of my colleagues said. I finally dropped some weight. I joked. About 120 pounds of lies. But the truth is, Lydia's betrayal gave me something she never could. Clarity. It made me realize that love isn't proven by loyalty when things are easy. It's proven by consistency when no one's watching. And she failed that test miserably. A year later, I heard through a mutual friend that Lydia had moved to another city, working a small job, keeping to herself. She'd changed her number, deleted her social media, disappeared from the world we once shared. For a moment, I felt something close to pity. But then I remembered every night she chose someone else's company over honesty, and that pity faded into quiet acceptance. She once said she wanted freedom, and she got it, just not the kind she imagined. Me? I finally found mine too. Not in revenge, not in her downfall, but in the quiet realization that I could love again, just not her. Because the best revenge isn't ruining someone's life. It's living yours so well, they realize they never deserve to be part of it. That night, I stood by the window of my new apartment, city lights flickering against the glass, and whispered a single sentence to the reflection looking back at me. You survived it, Derek. And you didn't lose yourself doing it. For the first time since that text message on Route 9, I truly believed it. 6 months later, I found myself driving down the same stretch of highway that had once shattered my peace, Route 9. The same neon diner sign blinked against the night sky. The same traffic lights hummed in the distance. But everything felt different now. The ghosts that once haunted this road were finally quiet. I wasn't chasing answers anymore. I wasn't watching the security feed or checking timestamps on my phone. I was just living. And for the first time in years, that felt enough. A small design project I'd started in my living room had grown faster than I ever imagined. Route 9 Design now had its own office, a modest space filled with sketches, coffee cups, and people who believed in me. There was laughter again, even music playing while we worked. And every once in a while, when someone asked about the company's name, I'd just smile and say, "It's where I found my truth." One afternoon, as I was closing up, a delivery woman came by with a package. She looked about my age, kind eyes, messy ponytail, easy smile. "Mr. Carter?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, signing the slip. "Call me Derek." She laughed lightly. "Sure thing, Derek. You'd be surprised how many people order something and forget what it is." "I'm one of them," I admitted. "Story of my life lately." She grinned, tucked her clipboard under her arm, and nodded toward the office sign. "Cool name, by the way. Sounds personal." "It is," I said, "but it's a good kind of personal now." Her eyes softened. "Good. We all deserve a second chapter." I watched her walk back to her truck, sunlight glinting off her hair, and for the first time, I didn't compare her to anyone. I just noticed her. That was new. That night, I went home, sat on my porch with a mug of coffee, and watched the world slow down. No drama, no tension, just peace. I thought about Lydia again, not with anger, not even sadness, but understanding. People destroy the things they don't value because they don't know how to protect them. She'd made her choice, and I'd made mine, to rebuild instead of rot. A few weeks later, an envelope arrived. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. "Lydia." I hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a short letter and a photo. She looked older, thinner, but there was something in her eyes, not guilt but growth. "Derek, I wanted to thank you, not for forgiving me, but for letting me face myself. Losing you forced me to finally look at who I became. I don't expect anything from you. I just hope you found the peace I couldn't give you. Lydia." I folded the letter slowly and tucked it into a drawer. Not out of sentiment, but closure. That chapter didn't deserve to be rewritten, only remembered. As the months passed, I started going out more, meeting new people, laughing again. The woman from the delivery company, her name was Rachel, dropped by occasionally with packages, and each time we talked a little longer. About work, music life. There were no sparks forced, no rush, no pretending. Just two people trying to exist without the weight of broken promises. One evening, as we sat on the porch drinking coffee, she asked quietly, "You ever think about what you'd say if you could go back?" To that night, the one that changed everything. I smiled faintly. Yeah, I'd tell my old self to stop chasing explanations. Sometimes, the truth doesn't need to be uncovered. It reveals itself when you stop looking. Rachel nodded. "Sounds like you learned the hard way." "The only way worth learning," I said. The sky dimmed into twilight, and the world felt still, not empty, but full in a new way. I looked out the road stretching ahead, the same road that once broke me, and realized something powerful. Revenge had ended long ago, but redemption was still unfolding. And this time, I wasn't walking alone, because when the past finally let go of your hand, the future starts holding it instead.